What up, peeps? It's your girl, Dash, coming back to your Frontal Takes. Today I'll be doing a review to the movie Halloween. I have waited long enough for this one to drop. I was so excited when I heard last year that they would be making this. More so, of course, as you all know, the sequel to the original, and that Jamie Lee Curtis will be attached. Also, John Carpenter being attached, and this being done through the Blumhouse production company. So I was excited when I definitely had heard earlier last year. I read a couple certain blogs where I keep track of anything all doing encompassed with horror, and one of them, it was just they were on point with knowing that it was coming out, how they got her intrigued with the script, how she of course is a producer on this one as well, and I'm kind of excited. Now, granted, we've had multiple Halloween movies. Of course, when we had our remake from Rob Zombie, some people like that one. It was okay, whichever. But I just really feel like they're paying homage to the first one and doing proper to the source material to show what it could have been with the actual sequel that we should have gotten back then. And I think they did a great job. I enjoyed this movie immensely. I actually went out with a friend. We had some fun watching it. She loves horror like me. And I just can't be more happy with the way it was thought out with the storyline. So let me just go ahead and jump into it. As you all know from the first one, it was basically Laurie Strode coming to deal with present day, the confrontation she had so long ago, 4 decades ago, dealing with Mike Myers when he went on his killing spree, and she barely got out of it alive, basically. And now you see her present day, of course, a little bit older, a little bit more gray with the hair, longer hair, whichever. Of course, she basically, as you all saw in the trailer, has been waiting, leading up to this day and waiting for this moment. She figured it would happen, and as you all saw in the trailer, from the crash of the bus, it does. Now, let me set it up. Now, I'm not going to spoil anything in this, so I'm going to try to just stick to the focus of, what happened without giving anything away, because I really would love for you all to go see this movie for yourself. And hopefully this weekend, and of course going into next weekend prior to Halloween, I'll make it even more exciting for a lot of people. So, but with that said, now you do get to see in the trailer about these two particular, I want to say, investigative journalists of sorts, one named Aaron, one named Dana. If you all remember, as again, the trailer, the gentleman coming to the psych ward before he's being transported. He comes there, he wants to kind of find a way to engage Mike Myers to see if he will speak. He, of course, as you see, he's shackled. He's in a certain little square space where they're told not to enter. It's in a yellow, square of sorts. And, you see it riles up the dog, the other, patients or whatever. You also see the scene where, of course, he pulls out the mask. I will say this. There's a scene when he does pull out the mask that causes a reaction of sorts, and it's not just from the other individuals that are in the psych ward, whichever. And I think that's kind of how it all decides, to play a part. Now, I will say also, we're introduced to a particular doctor. His name, and let me get his name correctly. His name in this was Dr. Sartan, and it's played by a gentleman named Haluk Bilginer, and he played very creepy as a doctor. And I will tell you, with him, Laurie just puts it out when she finally sees him face to face. She just calls him the new Loomis, which I thought that was really cute. I like to play homage a little bit by throwing that out there, whichever. Yes, I like Dr. Loomis from the first one. This one, he had his moment, where you're feeling like, he's on the up and up, and then you kind of see as time goes on within the movie, all that, his overall agenda, whichever. Now, I will say you do learn a little bit more about Laurie Strode, what's happened to her over the 4 decades. Of course, Judy Greer plays her daughter. I want to say her name is Karen, and then of course, being that she has her own family now, her husband and her daughter's name is Allison in the movie, played by Andy Matichak in this as well. And I will say I do love some of Judy Greer's work. I think she's great, and playing her daughter was great. Now, I love how, like they say, you do learn about the past, how this traumatized Laurie so much to the fact that she felt the need to make sure her daughter knew how to protect herself. Being a strong female, strong woman, if you want to throw out the Me Too, whatever, being able to, fend for herself, learning certain things, with guns, whatever. You all see how Laurie is about learning how to shoot, being a quick aim, whichever. Her daughter had to go through that, and then certain things did come awry. I won't go into too much detail, but let's just say it did affect her and how she treats her daughter circa present day. Now, the way the setup is also, being that this is a sequel, I felt a little bit of, let's say, like I said, the source material stayed true to how the overall way of the original movie, as opposed to the way this one was done as well. You get a little bit of a modern but a vintage feel of the movie, which I actually enjoyed. The cinematography in this movie was great. Also, the music. I loved the music in this movie. It was really good. Of course, you get the signature song. Of course, you know, at the beginning, I'm like, don't think you're going to get it just at the end. It was at the beginning. I love the way they set up the introduction from a scene and went right into the music to start the beginning credits of the movie, which was done very nicely. Secondly, I will say, when it comes to making sure we got somewhat of a good storyline, dealing with, want to say, the deaths, the scares, the humor, I think we got a nice collective amount. I think it was done almost equally. I didn't think one overshadowed the others. Now for me, the hardcore violent deaths, they were good. They did not rely on, you know, being the whole story, which is nice. Now in regards to the scares, I did not have jump scares. We had genuine scares, which at times could be very obvious and very predictable. It is a horror. You cannot go wrong when that happens. Secondly, in regards, like I said, you know, we had a nice amount of a little bit of humor. I will say this, there's a scene with a kid. Now, you saw the trailer, they show where a kid's being babysit by a teenage girl, and it's the young little black boy. His name in the movie is Julian, and I'm going to tell you, he's part of the humor in this movie. And I will say this, you would say stereotypical, if you see things are happening and you don't want to be in that situation, you know that it's time to roll. That's kind of where he fits in at times in his particular scenes, and it's so true, because the people in the audience really, when his parts came up and certain things started to happen or went awry, he did just straight typical, I'm sorry, I'm going to go here, I'm just going to say it. He was like how a brother probably would be, like, oh, this is happening, oh, I'm out, I got to go. And it was funny, and everybody kind of got into it. So I just have to say, when the humor for him, there was some other parts that were humorous, you know, with the character Allison with her friends, you know, high schoolers or whatever. But that particular scene with Julian was hysterical at times, and just the way he talked, I will say, I didn't care for too much of that potty mouth, but it wasn't so obvious. But at times it's just like, okay, you know, they didn't have to make him say all that, but it is what it is. You know, it was not needed as much as I think it was, you know, one or two, but it was just like, okay, let's move this along, but whatever. But other than that, he was fine. He was a little adorable at times too. Also, I will say there was another particular character, of course, Officer Hawkins, you know, played by Will Patton. And then we had another person who was in this I did not know, which played the sheriff, was Omar Dorsey. He's from another show that I actually watched. That is really a good show that comes on a particular premium channel. I'll probably put his picture somewhere up in here. But yeah, the cast was good. I will say also you learn a little bit more about Michael Myers' psyche as well. They delve into some discussions about him through the doctor, Sartain, and then just understanding how, what is it that keeps making him come back to the situation at hand, where he's coming back, you know, trying, because as soon as, you know, the situation happens, as you all saw, I can't give this away because it's not a spoiler, in the trailer, of course, him getting his mask back, and that slow pan, that was done very well. It was rather creepy of him panning when he finally finds his mask. It was very chilling. And I will say this, I was just so happy when I did hear that Nick Castle came back to play the Shape. I thought that was done very well. He did his part. Secondly, there was another person in this who played the Shape as well, because they use more than just one person to play the Shape. I do know that much. And his name is James, I think Jude Courtney. He did a great job as well. I like how at times before he had the mask, they did it where they kind of did a silhouette, so you can't really see their face, but you can see his overall, of course, like the shape of him, whatever, before he put it on or whatever. So you get the vibe of, you know, yes, he is a male, he is, you know, crazy psycho killer, whatever, and all that, and just doing the things that he does best, you know, with getting away with, basically. But yes, I like the pacing, like I said, of the movie was done very good. I will say this, I don't remember going to spoil anything, but let's just say that I did hear word, and I don't think I'm spoiling from saying this much. There's potential that they can continue and continue and continue if they want. So we'll have to see if that ends up happening, depending on how well this movie does this weekend and the next weekend, and then going to the weekend after Halloween. So if it keeps up the momentum, then we might get that, because I did hear word that that's what they would like to do to continue this on. So I was kind of curious as to how it would end, and I can kind of see what they're stating from what I've been hearing from Blumhouse Productions, as well as, you know, some people, you know, alluding to the comic but not going into more detail or discussion, and that's fine. You don't have to give away, but you all just need to go see it. I think you all will enjoy it. I know some people have been giving it not so great reviews, whichever, but that's okay. I don't care for people to compare it to the Rob Zombie. Don't do that. If it holds on its own, if you like that and you like Rob Zombie and there's nothing wrong with him, I prefer the original and I like this one. Like they said, they don't want to bypass what has already happened. I will say I did like Halloween H2O. But yes, other than that one in the first one, the second one, you know, it's okay, whichever, but I like the way they did this one now. So if I was to only watch the first Halloween and this one, I would be fine, and that's it. It would do me justice, and I could move on, whichever. But again, I did enjoy it. Out of a 10, I'll give it about an 8.5. You know, a couple of things here and there, whatever, in regards to the storyline, but overall it was good. So, but with that said, you guys, comment below. Let me know if you all seen it. Do not spoil anything for anyone, please, because if I see anything that spoils it, I will delete it off the bat. I just wanted just to see how you all feel about it. If you feel like they should, you know, continue it on, you know, do you feel like this should be the last one? You know, put it in the comments, let me know, so we can all discuss that a little bit. And with that said, I hope you guys enjoyed my review. I will see you on the next one. You guys take care.